times of trouble, you need someone who knows the law, knows the community, and knows how to fight for you. The law offices of Caesar McKnight, right here in Kingstree, South Carolina, is committed to protecting your rights and protecting your future. From criminal defense, personal injury, to family law. When the stakes are high, experience matters, and so does someone who listens. Call today and get a competent, passionate, and effective legal team on your side. Because when life hits hard, you don't have to go through it alone. The law offices of Caesar McKnight, justice for real people, serving the Kingstree and surrounding South Carolina communities. Call now or visit the website today or stop by for a free consultation. Why did my mic go off? Don't know. All right. I don't know how much of what I said you got or if you got any of it. But tonight, we are going straight to the paperwork. All right. We're not talking no blog posts. We're not talking about tweets. We're talking actual federal affidavit filed in court. This is the sworn document that investigators lay out, where they lay out what they say happened inside the Dallas studio during the alleged armed robbery and kidnapping involving Pooh Shiesty and I'm going to walk you through it line by line. So get your popcorn, get your drinks and whatever. You know what? I'm going to do the same thing. So go ahead and buckle in because we got a little ways to go. So yeah, I'm going to step off for a second here and grab me and grab my refreshments here real fast. But yeah, we're going to talk and we're going to break this thing down. We're going to go through it line by line. If you are checking in over on the Culture Playbook, please hold up. You know what? I'm supposed to be going live on Instagram. Instagram. Yes, we are now live on Instagram. Okay. Yeah, we are live over there on Instagram. Again, we're going to be talking about the affidavit filed in the Dallas courtroom in regards to Pooh Shiesty. And you can see right there at the top of that filing, there's a number of individuals involved in this thing, but it's a fascinating case. So again, you guys give me a few minutes. Let me go and grab me something to drink because again, we're going to be here for a little second. And I think you guys are going to enjoy this. But yeah, in the meantime, listen to my man Randall.
All right, so I'm here with Williamsburg County Councilman Randall Neesmith. Mr. Neesmith, we're here at the opening of the state park. There's been a lot of talk about it. Talk about, first of all, talk about how it feels to be a part of such a historic event right here in Williamsburg County.
It feels great. Hey, man, how's it going? Like you said, it was a long time coming. But when you have projects like these, time and making sure it's right, and like the governor Mansa says, more isn't always best. It's better. To make things go in the right direction. I can't say what it's going to be into Williamsburg County, and even a little selfishly to my district, District 3, looking to get a lot of tourism, a lot of foot traffic, and local mom and pop stores can grow. Just to name a few, we have Whistle that's right in my back door. We have Cooper Country, just a whole lot of different areas to look to grow and what it's going to do for Andrews and other areas.
All right, so yeah, we back. And listen, any of you watching from outside of South Carolina, go ahead and let me know what state you are watching from. And if you happen to come to South Carolina, man, listen, you want to get into some great family-oriented recreation. That Black River Park is a place for you to check out. You know what I mean? One thing I like about hiking and those type vacations, they're not expensive, but they are good family building things here. But let's talk about Pooh Shiesty, man, and what's going on in this case with him and all these other people that's named in this affidavit. All right, let's buckle in and do this right here. Let's get that affidavit pulled up. Is that it? That's not it. That's not it. There it is. All right. So yeah, we got this affidavit pulled up here. And we're gonna go through it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go through it and pull out some of the key points in this affidavit. First of all, you see here this affidavit was filed March 30th, 2026 in the Northern District of Texas. And the person who I'm talking about in particular, rapper Pooh Shiesty, is Lantrell Williams Jr. It's the first person named and first defendant named. Okay, and again, this is a criminal. This is the type of affidavit this is. This is a criminal complaint, and let's get into what the criminal complaint is. I'm not going to bore you with a lot of these details about who's who and what's what. Let's talk about what is alleged here. Okay, the probable cause. How did we get here where we are right now? And I am on page 2 of the. Let's move this down here. I'm on page 2. All right, probable cause. Overview of kidnapping. On January 10th, 2026 at approximately 4:50 p.m., victims who will be referred to throughout this affidavit by their initials or collectively as victims. RD, that's allegedly Gucci Man, Roderick Davis. I know that's his name. And then MM and BP were kidnapped and robbed at gunpoint at a music studio located on Dallas Parkway in Dallas, Texas. This location is within the Dallas division of the Northern District of Texas. At approximately 1 p.m. on January 10th, 2026, the victims were flew into Dallas, Texas alongside RD, which would be with RD's head of security, thereafter referred to as CW, and other security officers here in after referred to as TD, for a scheduled business meeting between RD and suspects Williams Jr. Williams Jr. is a hip hop artist known as Pooh Shiesty and has been signed to a recording contract for RD's music label, which would be Gucci Man 1017 since approximately 2021. RD and Williams Jr. were scheduled to meet because Williams Jr. was upset with the terms of his contract and wished to be released from his contractual obligation. Williams Jr. asked RD to come to Dallas on this date so they could meet about business. Approximately 1:45, CW and TD and the victim arrived at the scheduled meeting location, a music recording studio located within a larger office building. When CW and TD and the victims entered the office building, they realized the recording studio owned by an individual hereinafter referred to as JN was closed. While they waited for the studio to open, the five went to a liquor store and purchased liquor and plastic red solo cups before returning to the studio. Williams Jr.'s father, that's Pooh Shiesty's father, Williams Sr., called JN multiple times on the day of the meeting. At approximately 2:53 p.m., JN answered the phone and learned that Williams Sr. was attempting to book a recording studio that afternoon for Williams Jr. and RD to record music. At or around 3:15 p.m., JN opened the studio for RD, which is Gucci Man, BP, CW, and TD. Investigators later collected and reviewed surveillance. Wow, all this was on video surveillance. Video captured at another business located in the same office building on the same floor as the recording studio, which shows Williams Sr. outside of the office building at approximately 3:27 on January 10th. Williams Sr. appears to be speaking with someone on his cell phone before entering the building at around 3:28 p.m. You can see him pictured in the bottom on the right side of the right side of that door, right side of the picture. At approximately 3:39, an employee of the studio arrived to assist with production. When the employee arrived, Williams Jr. and Williams Sr., that's Pooh Shiesty and his father, were standing at the back door of the office building, engaged in what appeared to be an argument over the phone. At approximately 3:43 p.m., Williams Jr. and Williams Sr., Wright, Johnson, Waters, Rogers, these are the people named in the indictment. Rogers, Gibson, Glover, and McDaniels entered the east side of the office building. The target suspects walked through the lobby area of the building before going inside the studio. One individual with a dreadlock hairstyle, later identified as Gibson, can be seen on video exiting the office building, and shortly thereafter returning with a bag slung over his shoulder. The 9 individuals entered the studio control room where inside victims were watching a football game. CW was positioned in the studio lobby while TD remained in the vehicle they arrived in. Depicted below are photographs of the studio lobby, studio control room, and studio recording room, taken from Dallas Police Department body cam and crime scene photographs captured on on the night of the offense. Now, I want you guys to keep in mind that Pooh Shiesty just came home from doing 5 years. Just came home from doing 5 years, and now he's caught up in this right here. Let's see more. The victims overwhelmed Williams Jr. Excuse me. The victims overheard Williams Jr. talking on the cell phone, potentially with a probation or parole officer, stating that his caseworker had given him permission to be out for, I think that says free time, from what the victim could hear. Williams Jr. was informed that that was not the case and he needed to return immediately. Williams Jr. agreed. Williams Jr. was wearing an ankle monitor, leading the victim to believe that Williams Jr. was on house arrest. RD, which is Gucci Man, told Williams Jr. that they could reschedule their studio session, but Williams Jr. requested to speak to RD privately and, in the attached recording room. RD agreed and entered the recording room with Williams Jr. Williams Sr. and Wright, meanwhile, MM and BP remained in the control room with the 6 other individuals and continued to watch the football game. BP offered to share the liquor they purchased with the target suspects. And at least 2 accepted, grabbing a red cup and taking a drink. Inside the control room, Williams Jr. produced purported contract termination or release paperwork from a bag and told RD to sign. When RD declined, Williams Jr. became agitated and the pair started to argue. MM and BP could see inside the recording room and initially believed RD and Williams to be discussing business, but as MM saw the conversation intensified, he texted CW, who was still in the music studio lobby. As the argument inside the recording room ensued, Williams Jr. instructed Wright to get his bag. Wright complied, leaving the recording room before returning with a bag. Williams Jr. then pulled what appeared to be a black AK-style pistol from the bag and pointed it at RD, demanding again that RD, which is Roderick Davis, which is Gucci Man, sign the contractual release paperwork. RD complied, signing the paperwork for Williams Jr., while Williams Sr. and Wright stood by. RD was not allowed to leave the recording room while he was held at gunpoint by Williams Jr., which is Pooh Shiesty. Wright pulled out his cell phone and purported to record RD signing the paperwork, being forced to say that he released Williams Jr. from their contract. After the release was signed, Williams Jr. and RD's wedding ring, watch, earring, and cash. Excuse me, let's read that again. After the release was signed, Williams Jr., which is Pooh Shiesty, took Gucci Man's wedding ring, watch, earrings, and cash. After Gucci Man signed the contractual release paperwork, Pooh Shiesty provided the paperwork to William Sr., which is his father, and asked him if the paperwork was good. William Sr. advised that the paperwork needed to be dated, so Williams Jr. then forced RD to add the date next to his signature. As RD, Williams Jr., and Williams Sr. and Wright exited this recording room, the remaining subjects, Waters, Rogers, Johnson, Glover, McDaniels, and Gibson, produced handguns or AK style pistols and began to demand property from BP and MM. BP was pushed onto the couch in the control room while the individual known to BP as CMO, Damn Fool, and part of Williams Jr.'s crew, later identified as Rogers, searched his pockets and stole his wallet, BP's chain, and a necklace bearing the moniker 1017 were stolen from his neck by another subject he knew as Glizzy 375, later identified as McDaniel. During the robbery, McDaniel repeatedly threatened to shoot BP for moving, but Williams Jr. instructed McDaniel not to. This is crazy. BP further identified an individual he knew as Baby Slime 375, later identified as Johnson, as being involved in the kidnapping and robbery, and that during the control room robberies, Johnson possessed a firearm and held BP and others at gunpoint. Both MM and BP identified an individual known as KD, later identified as Waters, also as also being involved in kidnapping and robbery, possessing a firearm and holding them at gunpoint. MM was choked from behind to the point of nearly losing consciousness during the kidnapping and robbery, resulting in scratches on his neck and wrists. So they choked this white guy almost till he passed out. They got to be slow. MM was robbed of his Rolex watch, his Louis Vuitton bag containing multiple other high dollar watches, Apple AirPod, which all the stuff can be tracked, headphones, and his wallet at gunpoint by Glover. MM confirmed his Louis Vuitton bag, AirPods, and wallet each had Apple AirTag locations tracking devices attached. I just said that. Wow. This is very, very disturbing right here. If true. Again, these are all allegations, so we don't know if this is true or not. This is just an affidavit against Mr. Pooh Shiesty. As the altercation inside of the control room ensued, Wright looked over to the studio door of the lobby. Wright looked over to the studio door to the lobby, closed it, and blocked it with his body, preventing the victims from leaving. CW and TD, the victims' security guards, watched Wright barricade the door and attempted to force their way into the control room, but were prevented from entering with handguns drawn. CW and TD managed to partially open the door, but recognized that they were outnumbered by the armed target suspects. Gucci Man was pushed onto the couch in the control room, causing the victim to believe they were going to be executed. Causing the victims to believe that they were going to be executed. Williams Jr. placed the barrel of a firearm to the back of BP's head and ordered him and RD to leave the control room and the studio through the west entrance of the office building. Gucci Man then instructed CW and TD to escort them both to their vehicle. As the victims left, MM turned to Williams Jr. and asked him if they were really taking his watches. Based on later recovered surveillance video footage, the target suspects left the studio and the office building through the east entrance at approximately 4:48 p.m. Exterior surveillance video recovered from the neighboring building showed a white Buick Enclave, a black Dodge Charger Hellcat, and a black Dodge Ram with a distinct roll bar affixed to the bed of the truck, traveling northbound shortly after the kidnapping and robbery. And of course, give me a second, guys, here because they got some accompanying visuals. Yeah, that dude. According to law enforcement database, Wright's father, also named Rodney Wright, owns a 2020 Dodge Charger Hellcat bearing Tennessee license plate BHB 8698, license plate readers placed the charger in Texas, including Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, during the relevant time period, in particular, a 2:18 p.m. scan on January 10th captured the charger following in close proximity to the black Dodge Ram bearing Arkansas license plate TKBXD. The Dodge Ram appears to have same distinct roll bar as the Dodge Ram captured on surveillance video near the offense location later that afternoon. License plate readers scanned at around 5:04 p.m. on January 10th placed the Charger traveling in close proximity to the white Buick Enclave bearing Texas license plate XMV1420. This enclave returns with Hertz Rental as a registered owner. On or about January 14th, 2026, investigators subpoenaed the Hertz corporate Hertz Rent-A-Car for information associated with the enclave. On January 14th, 2026, Hertz responded, providing information including that the white Buick Enclave bearing Texas license plate XMV1420 had been rented by Williams Sr. on December 29th, 2025, with a return date of January 11th, 2026. The records further revealed the Enclave was still rented to Williams Sr. at the time of January 10th, 2026, kidnapping and robbery. Location information provided by Hertz in response to search warrants detailed the movement of the Buick Enclave on January 10th and through the 11th of 2026. These records, this guy is cooked. Shiesty is done for. Yeah, he went to prison and ain't learned nothing. Nothing. Jesus. Williams Jr. And also he did this while wearing a monitor. An ankle monitor, that is. Williams Jr. is currently serving a 63-month sentence for a violation of 18 conspiracy to possess firearm in furtherance of a violent and drug trafficking crimes that he sustained in the Southern District of Florida. According to records received from the Bureau of Prisons, Williams Jr. was approved for home detention on October 31st, 2025. As part of his condition for home detention, William agreed not to possess any deadly weapons or knowingly be in the company of a person possessing the same. Additionally, Williams Jr. is required to wear an electronic monitoring device monitored by the Bureau of Prisons. Investigators received partial records associated with Williams Jr.'s electronic monitoring device, including location data from January 9th, 2026 and January 10th, 2026, monitoring device including location data, again for the 9th and the 10th. These records corroborated, that means confirmed, the information investigators received regarding Williams Jr.'s movements, including his location at or near the offense location on January 10th, 2026. Wow. And he had his dad with him, so I don't know. Gucci Man must have not gave him nothing while he was in prison. For him to be reacting like this, Gucci must not gave him Nathan, not a thing. Jeez, come on, Shiesty, you going to prison, brother? Is Gucci Man considered a snitch now? Or the guys with him? I don't know how that works, but anyway. On the day of the offense at approximately 1:50 p.m., Williams Sr. was seen on video entering a Staples located at 333 Preston Road, Frisco, Texas, 75034. He rented, his rented Buick Enclave can be seen on surveillance video parking near the front of the store, after which Senior Williams entered the store and walked to the copy printer machine. Oh my goodness, this is where he went got the contract. Investigators obtained a copy of a receipt that confirms that a transaction occurred at copy printer machine at 1:59 p.m. The time Williams Sr. is seen on surveillance video near the machine. Due to the close timing of the visit to Staples prior to the offense, the fact that Williams Sr. went straight to the printing area of the store and the timing of the receipt confirming a transaction occurred while Williams Sr. was at or near these printers, investigators believe that Williams Sr. and Williams Jr. went to Staples for the purpose of printing off the contractual release that was presented to RD, aka Gucci Man. Cell phone records. Yeah, so there is no getting away. You might think you can get away. You can't get away from these people. Investigators obtained cell phone records. Investigators obtained cell phone records for Williams Jr., Williams Sr., Wright, Johnson, Waters, Rogers, and Gibson, and telematic location data and records for the Dodge Charger Hellcat and Dodge Ram. Cell phone records for Glover and McDaniels are pending. The records indicate Wright, Johnson, Waters, Rogers, and Gibson traveled together from Memphis, Tennessee to Dallas, Texas in the Dodge Charger Hellcat, and that the Dodge Ram, they left Memphis on January 8th, 2026 and arrived in Dallas In the early morning hours of January 9th, 2026, the data from Glover's electronic monitoring device aligns with these cell phone records. On January 10th, for from approximately 2:28 p.m. to approximately 2:46 p.m., Williams Jr., Williams Sr., Wright, Johnson, Waters, Rogers, Gibson, and Gibson, the Dodge Charger, Hellcat, the Dodge Ram, were in the area of the Windrose Tower, a location Williams Jr. resided prior to moving into his new residence at 12 Cowboys. So they basically met up at Pooh Shiesty's old house, according to this metadata. Mm, 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 mm. Shiesty, you done, bro. You was cooked. You did it to yourself. Damn it, man. All right, what do we got here? Let's go. 12 Cowboys way in Frisco, Texas. Okay. They all traveled together to the area of the offense location, arriving at approximately 3 p.m. The data from Williams Jr.'s electronic monitoring device and the location information from the Buick Enclave aligned with the cell phone records. Williams Jr., Williams Sr., Wright, Waters, traveled together from the area of the offense location, leaving approximately 4:50. Okay, yeah, it's saying they all travel together, leaving at 4:50 p.m. to the area of the Star in Frisco, Texas. Arriving at approximately 5:07 p.m. Williams Jr., Williams Sr., Wright, Johnson, Waters, and Gibson utilized towers with coverage that includes the Star unit until approximately 9:30 p.m. The data from Williams Jr.'s electronic monitoring device and location information for the Buick Enclaves aligned with the cell phone records. Wright, Johnson, Waters, Rogers, Gibson, and the Charger, the Hellcat, the Dodge Ram traveled together from the area of the Star in the Frisco to the area of the Comfort Inn 11069 Composite Drive, Dallas, Texas, where they remained overnight. Williams Jr. and Williams Sr. remained in the area of the Star overnight. On February 24th, 2026, Flix North America Incorporated, which owns Greyhound bus lines, responded to a subpoena with records documenting that on January 11th, Glover, Rogers, Gibson, and McDaniels traveled together on Greyhound bus from Dallas, Texas to Memphis, Tennessee. Cell phone records for Rogers and Gibson corroborate this travel. You can't run, you can't hide. You can't run, you can't hide. Bottom line. Cell phone records indicate that on January 13th, 2026, Wright, Johnson, and Waters traveled together with the Dodge Ram from Dallas, Texas to Memphis, Tennessee. The Dodge Charger Hellcat was stolen from the Comfort Inn in the early morning of January 11th. It was reported stolen by individual TA on January 13th, 2026, at approximately 1:04 p.m., shortly after Wright left Dallas area. Left the Dallas area. Okay. After reading the incident report for the stolen Dodge Charger Hellcat and analyzing cell phone records for Wright, Johnson, Waters, and Gibson, investigators determined they stayed at the Comfort Inn, 11069 Composite Drive, Dallas, Texas, from January 10th through the 11th, 2026. Comfort Inn records confirmed that Gibson paid for the room at the hotel. Investigators reviewed surveillance footage from the Comfort Inn and observed Wright, Johnson, Waters, Rogers, Gibson, and McDaniels inside the Comfort Inn, all clad in clothing similar to what the suspects in the kidnapping and the robbery appeared to be wearing. Below are stills from the offense location next to stills from the surveillance footage. Yeah, man. This is Pooh Shiesty is cooked. He done. He done. He must got a he must like boys or something, because there's no way in the world you did this and then you just came home from doing 5 years and you just this is this is like, yo, please lock me back up. That's what this is. This is screaming, please lock me back up. Look, I've been going already now like 50 minutes and I am tired. So we're gonna have to do a part 2 on this right here, of this indictment thing right here. So yeah, if you find yourself in Pooh Shiesty's situation, which you shouldn't, but if you do, or if you need a good lawyer to represent you in a car accident or a slip and fall, say in a Dollar General, over all that stuff they got now. In times of trouble, You need someone who knows the law, knows the community, and knows how to fight for you. The law offices of Caesar McKnight, right here in Kingstree, South Carolina, is committed to protecting your rights and protecting your future. From criminal defense, personal injury, to family law. When the stakes are high, experience matters, and so does someone who listens. Call today and get a competent, passionate, and effective legal team on your side. Because when life hits hard, you don't have to go through it alone. The law offices of Caesar McKnight, justice for real people, serving the Kingstree and surrounding South Carolina communities. Call now or visit the website today or stop by for a free consultation.